The first Maleficent movie in 2014 was only ever made in the first place because Disney really, super wishes that they had the rights to Wicked. If nothing else, it's sort of interesting to watch as a tightrope act to see how closely you can stick to the basic premise and most iconic scenes of the classic Sleeping Beauty, while adding in new material casting its previously one-dimensional evil villainess Maleficent as a sympathetic and even heroic character, adding in a previously never-before-seen detailed backstory for her, as well as other scenes that I guess could technically have happened, maybe off-screen? Maybe? But still don't really gel with the very simple fairy tale story that it's trying to fit itself around.
How quaint.
So basically, it's just like Wicked, except without the rousing Broadway musical score. That's all fine, it's a new interpretation of old material, it's not hurting the original version at all, and it's not shamelessly ripping it off either, standing out as its own separate thing. So at least it's got that going for it. Angelina Jolie is clearly giving it her all and turns in one of the best performances I've ever seen from her. Charlton Copley as King Stefan is also delightfully over the top, as usual, and is clearly having a lot of fun with the role, but everything else is just kind of It's a neat idea and worth watching once, but overall nothing special really. I don't even know how many fans of that movie wanted a sequel, but I know I sure didn't care for one. It did its gimmick and now it's done. There's nowhere left to go with this. It's a fairy tale. They all lived happily ever after. They never even gave the original Sleeping Beauty a crappy, ill-conceived sequel back when they were doing it for all of the other Disney movies. But these days, everything that makes money has to get a sequel, and now it's Maleficent's turn. The writing in this sequel, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, feels like low-tier DeviantArt level fan fiction, but not in a so-bad-it's-good way, more like a just barely competent enough to technically be considered a story kind of way. This movie turns Maleficent into the Chosen One, and it's the most boring, predictable thing ever. Maleficent meets this whole race of other Maleficents, who all live in perfect peace and harmony with nature inside of this impossibly large cave that nobody's ever noticed before, just outside the kingdom. Except none of the other Maleficents have any of Maleficent's magic superpowers, because then they'd all be way too OP. So these guys are being hunted down by humans, and they need Maleficent's powers of... What type of powers did she have again?
All the powers of hell!
Oh yeah, that's right. So these guys are being hunted down by humans, and they need Maleficent's powers of hell in order to save the day. She agrees to help them wage war on the humans, but then everything works out at the end because of the power of love, and everybody lives happily ever after except for the evil stepmother, Queen Michelle Pfeiffer. This movie has taken what was an intriguing reinterpretation of the Sleeping Beauty story and turned it into this lame, generic fantasy movie that's trying to be Avatar crossed with every single chosen one that didn't know they were the chosen one until it turned out they were the chosen one story that you've ever seen in your life, and a good helping of Lord of the Rings imagery, right down to the spindle from the spinning wheel Aurora pricked her finger on, whispering creepily in her head and giving her visions. To make things worse, this film clearly does not have the budget to back up its epic fantasy level premise. The digital effects look like they've come straight from the mid-2000s. This is some of the worst looking CGI I've seen from a movie with this much CGI in a while. Honestly though, my biggest disappointment with this film is that Angelina Jolie is just not very good in it. I was at least expecting that. She was great in the first one, but it doesn't really feel like she cares anymore. Just going through the motions.
We go home now.
Oh boy, if she's this checked out, just one sequel into her franchise, I can't wait to see how she's gonna do in the MCU. Also, this might just be me, but it kinda seemed like she wasn't even in that much of the movie, considering the thing is named after her. She's pretty much given the Goku treatment here, getting injured during the first act, then f***ing off for most of the movie, and sweeping back in at the end to save everyone. The rest of the movie is centered around Elle Fanning as Aurora, while she stumbles around evil stepmother Michelle Pfeiffer's castle to catch up with the audience on all of the extremely telegraphed plot reveals. Fanning is channeling her inner Liv Tyler in this movie, playing every scene by sort of staring off into the middle distance with her mouth slightly open. Meanwhile, the guy playing her love interest, Prince Philip, just looks confused. Ed Skrein has the same smirk on his face the whole movie that he always has in every movie that he's in. Michelle Pfeiffer is sometimes entertaining, but mostly just phoning it in, and Chiwetel Ejiofor is also there. Everything about this movie is just so horribly mediocre and trite.
A disgrace to the forces of evil.
Don't bother seeing it. You're better off watching the previous Maleficent movie, or better yet, just sticking with the original classic, which I just reviewed and you should go watch.
watch it.
And if you like this video, well, I'd sure be tickled if you could help me out by hitting that like button, subscribing for more in the future, and ringing the bell to stay up to date on all of my future stuff. Leave a comment down below letting me know any of your thoughts on Maleficent or Maleficent 2, and check out some of the other great stuff I've got up here on my channel. As always, thanks so much to all of you guys for watching, and take care.